This is traditionally our time that we talk to Councillor Tony Randle from Wellington, and we have our letter from Wellington. And he joins us now. Tony, welcome to the show. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Listen, just before we start on the issues we want to talk about, and we've got rates, we've got e-scooters, and we've got the Mayor of Wellington rejoining the Green Party. It's interesting, but we'll talk about those in a second. I don't know if you've been made aware of the fact that the New Zealand Herald has devoted an entire editorial to you this morning, as in Wellington City. Are you aware of that?
No. I missed that bit. I'm sorry.
That's all right. No. I mean, there's obviously something going on in Wellington if the New Zealand Herald have decided to spend their valuable and vast editorial space upon you. But essentially, the editorial, which is headlined "Uncertainty to Blame for Wellington's Downward Spiral," it starts, "Between public sector job cuts, stalled transport projects, businesses closing down and plummeting house prices, it's fair to say that Wellington's in need of more than just sunshine to enjoy one of its quintessential good days." And then it goes on to develop that and finally says, in its last couple of paragraphs, and you'd be interested to read, this is the perspective of that august institution. "There's no one factor or person to blame for the downward spiral Wellington finds itself in, but the spreading fear is becoming highly infectious. If those in charge really want to take control, drive economic growth and be recognised for their decisive leadership, then people need confidence about what lies ahead. The sooner decisions can be made on major infrastructure projects and the extent of job cuts in the public sector, the better." So that's how it starts and finishes, and then it puts all the gloomy stats in the middle of it. Have they got a point?
Yes, I think they've got a point. And it's becoming increasingly obvious, living within the city. You talk about leadership. I think that is the thing that it's missing. And it's not that we don't have leadership, but the leadership of the city doesn't seem to be focused on the city, if you know what I mean. It's just, Golden Mile project, for example. We're proceeding with the construction of this Golden Mile project, which is still, it's in this, we're going to totally disrupt the centre of our city for a year or two or three, and yet nothing has really been finalised about exactly what's going to happen when. And we've been in this state for like a year. We've actually had one of the most iconic stores in Wellington, Camfields. They've closed down because they can see this is coming. They can see that outside their shop, people won't be able to get to them for who knows how long. And they know they can't survive that, so they're sort of cutting their losses before they see they're going to happen. This is a really negative attitude that business has to what's happening in the city, and it's terrible.
I'd assume, Tony, and like most people, I suppose, who don't live in Wellington, that when the new government came in and they got rid of Let's Get Wellington Moving, which was so hilariously named because it was exactly the opposite. It was Let's Make Wellington Static, but it doesn't matter. That the Golden Mile development and that sort of pedestrianisation of that sort of all that sort of shopping area was over as well. Does this carrying on irrespective?
They're literally carrying on with the same decision they made when they made this decision with the Golden Mile basically a couple of years ago with the previous council, and they're ploughing on as if the Let's Get Wellington Moving program is still going. They're not stepping back and saying, "Hey, everything's changed. The business is still not engaged. The whole thing needs to be re-looked at." I mean, and as for Let's Get Wellington Moving, personally, I think the moving bit should be lost. And looking back at it, it really is about just let's get Wellington.
So the Golden Mile, just run me through this one again. We all know, most of us who are listening will have visited Wellington, enjoyed, or not enjoyed, but mostly enjoyed our time there. You've got Lambton Quay, you've got Willis Street, and you've got Courtney Place. That's sort of the connection. What is the Golden Mile effect?
the decision that was made 2, 3, 4 years ago was to really pedestrianise it and add cycleways. Why not? And that's the plan. They're going to widen the pavement, up to maybe as much as 11 metres wide. And they're going to narrow the bus service, which runs through there. All our buses, almost all, run through the Golden Mile, just to 2 lanes. And so it's very much a pedestrianisation project, and they're going to pedestrianise everything along Lambton Quay, Willis Street, Manners Street and Courtney Place, right through the whole centre.
So where do you put your cars?
Oh, you're not supposed to bring your cars into Wellington. That's the obvious thing. I mean, I've had a look at the plans and the background to the plans, and they expect fewer cars to come to Wellington as a result of this project. So you can't, and that's one of the reasons why retail is in such a funk. Now, I know that lots of people, especially cycling advocates, says, "Oh no, cyclists go shopping. Cyclists shop even more," according to some. But if you're looking at someone such as Camfields, which is a shop
cyclists don't go shopping. They have a latte somewhere. What, are they going to put a basket on the front of it and carry the week's groceries there? Are they?
You look at a shop like Camfields, which is a shop full of beautiful things.
Yeah.
They have mirrors. They have things that you put in your flash, what I call flash stuff. I mean, I'm from Johnsonville, so, and we've got a couple of lovely things from Camfields, and that's the sort of shop it is. But you're not going to go and buy a flash lamp and drop it on the back of your bike and cycle home.
No.
And this is also a shop where people come from all across the region. Their clientele isn't Wellington City. It's not even the Wellington region. They're so cool, as are many shops in Wellington, that people come from Palmerston North. They come from, Wanganui to go and get that special thing. And the same thing, when you're going to buy a good suit or, there's some special stuff which a bigger city just has more of.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of people who won't be able to come. It's crazy.
Okay. Now, well, actually, on that, we've talked about this before, but you've got an incredibly left-wing council. But you said, let me talk about Tory whānau rejoining the Greens. Did she leave the Greens?
Well, looking back on it, I don't think she ever did. I, as a new councillor, took her at face value when she said she's left the Greens, she's independent, she wants to reach across and have a unified council. And I worked really hard to try and find some middle ground where we could go and agree. And all I got back, really, and looking back on it, that's now more obvious, was that she literally didn't do it. We had a few conversations, very few conversations, in fact. And when we come and put up, particular amendments saying, let's say, for example, in the latest long-term plan, they're going to double, or they're going to increase the climate change budget, significantly. And I went to them and say, look, just leave it as it is. It's $7 million a year. We've already got about 34 staff working on climate change. Do we really need more? And no, we had to have more climate change. And this is where the green agenda comes through. And this is why our rates are going up so much. And
well, I've just read what she said. Yeah, well, I've just read Wellington Mayor Tory whānau has joined the Green Party again after leaving at the start of her term to focus on uniting the Wellington City Council. A spokesperson for the mayor confirmed she had rejoined the party. Whānau said in a statement, quote, "I put my party membership on hold temporarily while I built relationships with councillors. But I've always been open about my support for the party and my alignment on issues." Don't you think there's an element of almost subterfuge and deception in that statement, Tony? That she put it on hold temporarily? To build a relationship with you?
It was a temporary. When she came out and said she was going to be independent, she didn't say it was temporarily independent. And
no, she didn't.
Yeah, I feel a bit betrayed because when you meet new people, and I didn't know Tory and she didn't know me, I want to take them at face value. I want to take what they say at face value as true. And what she was saying then simply didn't turn out to be true. So what do you say about that? And you talked about the New Zealand Herald talking about leadership, and this is a leader, and this is this is part of the issue of having the party politics in the council, was it gets in the road of leadership on the real issues.